Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I really want to join other members who spoke in the morning and support the nomination of the Inspector General nominee, Douglas Kanja, whom all of us have described as a man of integrity. The speakers who spoke before me gave the history of this man as one who have risen through the ranks. I want to give my own testimony because I've interacted with him on several occasions, and especially when the insecurity was at its rise in Laikipia County. I also have known him for the last 15 years. I want to testify that he's a man who is gracious enough to even allow a conversation, give advice as an elderly citizen of the Republic of Kenya. He would be able to put aside issues now of being a professional officer and also give advice on how we can secure this country without really raising temperatures, without dividing our people, because I come from a constituency, a county, where it is really cosmopolitan. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of the nominee that we are discussing today, he's known not to be antagonistic. He's not antagonistic, Mr. Speaker. He's a calm, disciplined officer whom, even if he interacts with other officers in all lands, they will tell you that he has a listening ear, which is really one of the attributes of a leader, and is also essential for a person who is going to take over as the next Inspector General of Police. Mr. Speaker, I would like to encourage other members that for the first time, we have seen all of us coming up unanimously, the same way we came up, discussed the professionalism of the Attorney General, where we are agreeing that it's not where you come from, but being a Kenyan and merit is supposed to be the first thing that we consider. I support, Mr. Speaker.
Mburi.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also rise to support this committee's report. And I note that this position requires a very sober individual who's qualified, experienced, and understands the rule of law and democracy. In fact, one of the things I think they need to understand is the independence and interdependence of the three arms of government. The legislature, which makes the laws, the judiciary, which interprets the law, and then the executive, which enforces the laws through the police. Mr. Speaker, as this new Inspector General takes up office, I want to advise that he make sure that he respects the rule of law, respect the judiciary, make sure that if there are any court summons, you respect them. Because if in that office you don't respect the courts, then Kenyans may also start disrespecting the courts. And when that happens, that becomes anarchy. The second issue, Mr. Speaker, is that the new Inspector General must also respect other arms of government. For example, Parliament. We have seen in the past where Inspector Generals arbitrarily withdraw security of members of Parliament. We've seen recently one withdrew the security of a judicial officer, not understanding that the nature of the job that we do requires for us to have that security because it is also sensitive. And finally, make sure that this thing of gangland abductions and killings of Kenyans stops once and for all. Because this has been a story we have sung, a song we have sung for a long time. We have had Inspector Generals come and go, and we still continue killing our Kenyans. As we are talking now here, there are still Kenyans that are missing, Mr. Speaker. It is important that when he takes up office, he gets to the bottom of what is happening to those Kenyans that are lost since that time when our youth came out to demonstrate and ask for better governance. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mburi.
Asante, Bwana Speaker, kunipa nafasi hii. Yangu ni kusupport committee ambaye iliyotekeleza haya mambo kwa sababu Mr. Kanja ni mtu tunamuelewa sisi wa Kenya. Mr. Kanja ukiangalia wakati alikuwa kwa GSU, yeye mwenyewe ndiye alikuwa anazuia upande wa Meru, Tigania West, Egembe Central, Egembe North wakati wa vita ya ng'ombe. na yeye ni mtu ambaye ukimpigia simu wakati wowote hata kama na namba yako hanaichukua. Langu ni moja pekee yake, ni kusema kwamba katika kitengo wa polisi watu wengi wa polisi wengi wanahangaika. Ukiingia wasaizi kwa nyumba ya polisi wawili wanasia nyumba moja na ni room moja na wako na familia. Na hiyo eti ya kwamba Kanja tukimweka akiweka ndani wasaizi akiingia pale Kanja ataweza kuinua polisi. Ingine ni hii. Kule kwetu nyumbani ama kwa hawa nyumba unaona hapa hivi. Nyumbani kule kuna muzaa ya kutosha na pombe ya kutosha. Pale polisi wale walioko pale wasaizi wakisika pombe hawapeleki polisi, hawapeleki kotini. Ile inabaki pale police station, wale ambaye amesikwa eti ya kwamba yeye mwenyewe apeleke mahali popote. Ndipo tutasema kwamba Kanja akipata hii ya kwamba atatimisha ile wajibu. Ingine hii, Kanja tutasema kwamba sio mtu wa Mount Kenya. Kanja ni Mkenya, Kanja ni Mjaluo, Kanja ni Mluya, Kanja ni Mkamba, Kanja ni Mmeru. Ya kwamba sio kusema kwamba tukimpa Kanja atakuwa akisema mambo mlima. Hakuna mambo mlima kwa Kanja. Kanja atakuwa ni Mkenya mzalendo ambaye anapenda kila mtu. Asante Bwana Spika kwa kunipa nafasi hii.
Madenge.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to add my voice to the support of Douglas Kanja's appointment as the Inspector General of Police. Douglas Kanja comes as a very, very experienced Kenyan in this position. Mr. Speaker, I want to add my voice to the expectations that Kenyans have on the nominee for the position of Inspector General. The number one, President William Ruto, in his wisdom, gave the Inspector General of Police functional autonomy and also financial autonomy. We expect that the welfare of our policemen will be at the forefront of Mr. Kanja's initiatives in reforming the police into a police service. Mr. Speaker, more importantly, is that this House has played its role in ensuring that it is the House that has the final say on the appointment of the nominee, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, the claim by certain quarters that they are the people pushing Douglas Kanja's appointment must be put to rest by the House, Mr. Speaker. I wish Mr. Kanja well as he's cleared by, even when he's cleared by this House, but he must know that we have a lot of expectation on him to really meet the desires and the wishes of Kenyans in as far as the police service is concerned. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Lagdera. Member for Lagdera, Abdikadir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. I rise to support the nomination of Mr. Kanja to the IG, to be the IG of National Police Service. Mr. Speaker, I have interacted with Mr. Kanja several times on security issues in the constituency, and he has been very responsive. This is a gentleman who will call at 10 p.m. and he will pick your call, and he will listen to you, and he will help you in case of any problems. And if you want to know him, you will look at his wealth declarations. He's a modest man, somebody who has gone through the ranks from police constable to IG, and now what he is declaring, just modest. For another person, for another Kenyan, I think that person will have been a billionaire now. He declared for 6 million as his wealth. That itself tells you Mr. Kanja is a man of integrity. Therefore, I think the nomination of Mr. Kanja is very important, because for now, I think we'll have somebody with integrity, with experience, with somebody who has gone through ranks of police to at the top, and somebody who understands the challenges of each and every cadre of the police service. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Naisula.
Speaker, I also do rise to support the appointment of the nominee, Mr. Kanja, for the position of the Inspector General of Police. And I speak as someone who has worked closely with him when he was in charge of GSU, Mr. Speaker, and he's the one who introduced the National Police Reservists in the North Rift, Mr. Speaker. I remember when we had issues in Samburu West constituency, Mr. Speaker, he got out of the office. We went round with him to the field. He saw the challenges that we were going through, Mr. Speaker, and he's the one who then recruited and ensured that NPRs were brought into place, Mr. Speaker. We need an Inspector General, Mr. Speaker, who will get out of those air-conditioned offices and go to the ground and go and see what is going on. And I can attest that Mr. Kanja is one such gentleman who listens to issues raised by members of parliament from experience, and I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to deliver. And we need to ensure that we pass him very quickly so that the acting IG can be relieved of his services, because we're not very happy with what he's doing in the country, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Member for Tetu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. First of all, is to thank the committee for a job well done, the joint sitting of the Committee of Parliament, of the National Assembly and the Senate. Mr. Speaker, I also rise to support the appointment of Douglas Kanja as the Inspector General of Police, and to say that Mr. Kanja is a seasoned professional who has grown through the ranks. So we expect him to be accepted very well within the police force, unless, unlike in the past, where we may have appointed outsiders to that position. Mr. Kanja, I know him very well, and he's a man with very good temperament, and who will become a very good unifying factor, within the police force, or within the police service. Mr. Speaker, the job of the AIG is a tough job, and I hope that he can be able to see through the police reforms that we have been talking about for a very long time. We have a lot of work in fighting corruption within the police force, improving the welfare of officers, ensuring a fair promotion policy, stopping any extrajudicial actions by police officers. It's a tough job, Mr. Speaker, and we wish him well, and he has our full support if approved by this House. Thank you.
Karole Omondi, are you keyed in for this? If you spoke in the morning, then get yourself off the radar. Yes, get yourself off the radar. Honorable Sane.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. I want to join my colleagues in giving compliments and support to the nominee for AIG. The AIG has come through the ranks out of merit. He has all the aptitude, the skills, and the qualifications so required for the duty he is supposed to take over. He is a very humble officer, one who has good listenership. The few moments I've had with him were quite interesting. He was able to listen to me and take me through what should be done. He has helped me in several occasions, having come from an insecurity-prone area. The IG is one person who has outstandingly performed in the last days of the Gen Z demonstrations. So I would, in a nutshell, accept in the approval of the IG, Mr. Douglas, for this job. I'm sure he will be one of the best IGs to hold that office. I saw support. Thank you.
Hillary.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I join all the members who have spoken before me to support the report, the joint report of the Senate and the National Assembly under the able leadership of our chair, the Honorable Gabriel Tongoyo. Mr. Speaker, a lot has been said about Mr. Douglas Kanja, and everything that has been attested by members is true. But Mr. Speaker, while we praise and demand of Kanja to do reforms in the police service, to take care of his juniors. Mr. Speaker, it is the honors of this House to make sure that we also avail resources to enable his office to achieve with a budget of over 115 billion and 85% of that budget going to personnel and emoluments, Mr. Speaker, and leaving 15% only for operations, the police will not achieve any meaningful thing, Mr. Speaker. And I'm calling on this House, when the new IG brings requests to improve performance in the National Police Service, let us generously add resources to him so that as we demand services, we also facilitate services by allocating resources, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Martin Owino.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also rise to support the committee led by Togoyo. Mr. Speaker, it appears the gentleman is a man of integrity, according to the report and the eyes of the committee, and we support that. There are only two things, Mr. Speaker, that I would like the gentleman to look into when he takes the office. Number one, the idea of restoring the image of the police service so that they can gain trust from the public and allow people to present information so that crime can be detected early and managed. That is missing because of the acrimony between the police and the people right now. Second, the issue of orders from above. Release the police to do what they have been trained, not what they are told to do. Mr. Speaker, we realized this when we were on the streets, when somebody just say, what are you doing with those MPs? Tear gas them. Very wrong. Lastly, the issue of transferring police force to police service is just a statement. We would like this gentleman to transfer this from that status to community policing service. If that is done, people will restore the confidence which they have lost in the police force, so to say. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mutunga.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to also add my voice to this. Honourable Speaker, I commend the committee for a good job done in the inquiry and proposals they have made. So I urge this House to consider approving the appointment of Mr. Kanja as the AIG of Kenya. Honourable Speaker, Mr. Kanja has what it takes. He has long-standing experience. He has requisite education that is needed. He has the professional capacity to do the work. He is also marked levels of maturity. We need a mature person in the police force, and he is a man of God. Honourable Speaker, I attended Mr. Kanja's...
Honourable Angela, what's your point of order? Mutunga, take your seat. Give him the mic.
Mr. Speaker, I want to bring attention of the chair to page 21.
Which chair?
The speaker, sorry, Mr. Speaker. I'm sorry. On page 21, number 45, about the nominee's background. I'm seeing, Mr. Speaker,
Angela, what is our
nominee, sorry?
Are you debating or you have a point
I'm not debating, I'm bringing to your attention to make a ruling, Mr. Speaker, whether we are properly debating the right person to be appointed as IG. Because this person was born on 22nd September 1963. And 1963, this is 2024 September, he's already 61. All government officers retire at the age of 60. So are we going to appoint somebody who is not even in the system, who has already retired? Is it in order for the House to debate something that is out, somebody who has already retired?
Mutunga, go on.
Honourable Speaker, Mr. Kanja is being appointed on contraction basis, and I think the member is out of order. Honourable Speaker, I need to draw caution, Honourable Speaker, that this... Honourable Speaker, That is my opinion. And I'm entitled to an opinion. Honorable Speaker, I believe I'm on the floor and I'm entitled to an opinion. I have not ruled, I've said in my opinion.
Honorable Wanjala, take your seat. You've made your point. Take your seat.
Honorable Speaker, I would like to just draw caution to Mr. Kanja. Honorable Speaker, Kenyan police is not one of the most respected. I know, Honorable Speaker, all of us have traveled in this house. And whenever you go to an airport and you're not sure of what to do or where to go, the first people you respect and expect to give you genuine guidance are the police. And that is why we're asking Mr. Kanja to bring the Kenyan police to that particular level of respect. Honorable Speaker, I would also ask that we refrain from aligning our police force. Honorable Speaker, our policemen are also Kenyans and workers in this particular country, and we need to support them to do their job. Honorable Speaker, I would also like Honorable Kanja to train the police to be credible in whatever they do so that they can be respected people. I would like to, Honorable Speaker, to appeal to this House to consider Honorable Kanja for the appointment. I thank you.
Honorable Wanjala. Honorable Wanjala, intellectual honesty requires that when you quote something, you quote it fully, not selectively. If you read that whole paragraph, you will have found that the answer you are looking for lies there. And it doesn't require the ruling of the Speaker. The committee says, the committee noted that at the time of the hearing, the nominee was 61 years old. Article 245 of the Constitution does not prescribe an age limit for the Inspector General. Further, Section 76 of the National Police Service Act, Cap 84, excludes the Inspector General from the retirement age of 60 years. So if you read that paragraph in full, you could have had the answer that you are looking for. So that is called intellectual inexactitude. I'll give to McClap.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think the problem of my good brother is Wanjala is not always available on time because this matter was debated in the morning and concluded.
Don't debate Wanjala, debate the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Number one is that the committee chaired by Honorable Tongoyo did a very good job in a very systematic and summarized manner for everyone to be able to debate on this matter. So I want to congratulate the committee for doing a good job. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, you know I come from a region, the North Rift, where banditry has been a problem. When I came to Parliament, Mr. Speaker, I asked whom do I go and see in the police force, in the police service, who can assist my people. Mr. Speaker, I was told of one Douglas Kanja. And when reaching his office, Mr. Speaker, I got a first-class treatment that I have never been given a treatment like that by police. The treatment was, this gentleman walked out to his office to come and meet me and took me inside. That is a very humble police person in the country, Mr. Speaker. Number two, the fact that President Kibaki saw an opportunity, equality in him. He gave him OGW. When Uhuru Kenyatta gave him another presidential honor, and William Ruto gave another presidential honor. So, Speaker, that tells you this is a man that the country can rely on security matters. Mr. Speaker, as I end, what awaits Kanja is digitization of the police services in the country so that to reduce the issues of corruption. Two, protect the NBRs in the country so that they are protected just like the other police. Three, let him go in record as the AIG in Kenya.
As Tongoyo, you can now reply. The time I allocated is over. Yes, Wanjala, what is it again? You look restless.
Please, Mike. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, recently this country was going almost to a revolution. And one of the issues Gen Zs said, they don't want people holding those offices, government, civil servant offices, who are above 60 years.
Order, Angela. This House operates on the basis of the Constitution. Order. Honorable Angela, you're out of order. Tongoyo.
Give me the mic. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And before I reply, I have got only about one or two things to add. Honorable Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to really sincerely thank all members of this House from both sides of the House for debating this motion with objectivity and for the overwhelming support that actually they have given to this motion. Honorable Speaker, it is important to note that from almost 30 plus members of this House who have contributed to this motion, all of them, they have given their own personal testimonies of the person, Mr. Kanja, of a person who is always ready to listen, a person who is a team player, a person, of course, who is committed to the service, and with no doubt, Mr. Douglas Kanja is a man that we can trust to bring the needed reform in the police service. Mr. Speaker, actually that should be also a rallying, a call to all of us as leaders, that when we give an opportunity to serve, we should always do it diligently with a lot of zeal. So when a time comes for scrutiny, there will be too much good to be said about us and the accolades to be said of what we have done during our time of serving the country. Mr. Speaker, two critical things that came up. One, you have actually managed to address, I don't want to say it, on the issue of the age. Of course, it was raised earlier by our very senior member there, and of course by Angela. I don't want to repeat it, you have said it very well. Mr. Speaker, there is the issue, of course, which was raised by Otende on the issue of temporary absence of the Inspector General. And the Section 16, Cap 80 is also very clear that the President, on recommendation of the Commission, may appoint one of the Deputy Inspector General to act as the Inspector General for the period not exceeding 3 months. So I think that confirmed that the position of the acting IG is in order. With this, Mr. Speaker, I want to call this House to approve the appointment of one Mr. Kanja for this position, and I reply, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much.
Order, honorable members. Order, Kagusha. Take your seat. Honorable members, I now put the question, which is that taking into consideration the findings of the Joint Committee of the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Affairs and the Senate Standing Committee on National Security, Defense, and Foreign Relations, in its report on the vetting of Mr. Douglas Kanja Kirocho for approval as the Inspector General of the National Police Service, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 17th September 2024, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 245(2)(a) of the Constitution and Section 12(1) of the National Police Service Act, Cap 84, and Section 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7F, this House approves the appointment of Mr. Douglas Kanja Kirocho as the Inspector General of the National Police Service. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? No. The ayes have it. Honorable members, we'll go back to order number 7, where Today we have the Minister for Education in the House, Mr. Ogamba. So CS, it's now your opportunity to respond to issues that you must be fully familiar with. This House held a Kamkunji on Tuesday, 20th August 2024, and matters that arose from there required and necessitated the House to invite you to come and speak to the issues as listed out on the order paper which you are familiar with. I now give you the opportunity. Thereafter, members will have an opportunity to ask you questions, both on the statement you are going to give and any other matters within your jurisdiction